Buzan, mind map inventor, once said, "Learning how to learn is life's most important skill." Along with this beautiful quote, he also called our today's guest, Dharmendra Rai, a genius. Yes. Let's see if you and I can pick something from this conversation and relearn how to simplify our thoughts and unstupid ourselves. Hi, I am Prashant Uttekar, a learning enthusiast, and you are listening to the Relearning Podcast, where we have an expert, and this time it's Dharmendra Rai. He will break few myths around learning, and going back to basics, it will enable you and me to relearn. Dharmendra has launched his book titled as The Thin Mind Map Book, which will soon be on Amazon Prime Reading. He holds a world record for hosting most number of mind mapping seminars, which are around 380 plus and still counting, and this is well under 10 years. He received a UN award for mind mapping and brain literacy. We will get to that in just about some time. He was recently interviewed for a podcast on mind mapping. In fact, while writing this introduction, I realized if I just keep talking about his accomplishments, it would take all the time from my episode. So why don't I share the rest of the accolades via a link to Dharmendra's website, right? And that will make it easier for me to just shut up and welcome my dear guest, Dharmendra Rai. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Prashant. Really looking forward to this. And I'm sure with your experience of doing such fantastic podcasts and your background in learning and unlearning, we're going to have millions of views.
This will work definitely for me and something that my podcast needs. So thank you for doing this. First things first, right? And people just like me who want to unstupid their thinking and thought process, we really want to know what is mind mapping and brain literacy.
Right. Mind mapping is a thinking tool. It's quite a simple thinking tool, which helps us think better. You can think of plenty of thinking tools. I'm sure visualize a Venn diagram,
Right, most of the time.
visualize a flow chart,
Right,
even a checklist. A checklist may not be that visual a thinking tool, but it's another thinking tool.
right.
And thinking tools just help make thinking a million times better. So it's very baffling to me why more people don't realize the importance of thinking tools. So I've realized the importance of thinking tools. I think I would not have been able to make plenty of very important decisions if I did not have thinking tools. I wouldn't have been able to progress to the extent I have in life without these thinking tools.
Sure.
It happens when you find something so exciting, you wonder why other people don't find it exciting. So then you get all excited about it and you want to share it. Understand how other people are not able to see that the smartest people in the world, the richest people in the world, the best business people in the world, the best students in the world are using thinking tools like mind mapping and others. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm a salesman for mind mapping, because I'm not.
Yeah.
Mind mapping is just one small spark. You should get yourself exposed to mind mapping. If you don't like it, don't use it. But get exposed to the concept of using mental tools and to the concept of understanding how your brain works. That's brain literacy. That is the most surefire way of getting whatever you want, whether it's personal, whether it's social, whether it's financial, whether it's physical. That is the number one key to success today. And you don't have to take my word for it. If you are a fan of Yuval Harari, who's written plenty of books, his most famous book is Sapiens. If you haven't read Sapiens, then read directly his latest book, which is 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. And he talks about it that you have to learn how to learn. And he's spoken about 4 C's. So I'll just quickly tell you about the 4 C's before handing it over to you. 2 C's have to do with thinking.
Okay.
And 2 C's have to do with communication. So the 2 C's that have to do with thinking, which relate directly to mind maps, are creativity and critical thinking. Both can be enhanced drastically with mind maps. And the other 2 have to do with my other subject, that's invisible selling, which is communicating and collaborating. So it's, I have not paid Yuval any money.
I was about to say that.
It seems to be uncanny that he's indirectly promoting me.
You did talk about mind map and the benefits of mind map, but you didn't give
Yes.
anything away. So I want to put you on a spot there, and if possible, give me an example so that my listeners. Okay, I learn very slow, and that's why I started this podcast called as relearning. So just help me with an example. How would this really work?
First of all, you just said something very critical there.
Yeah,
You said you learn slowly.
yeah,
Most people in the world learn slowly. There is a huge artificial pressure exerted by the education system, which is very, very harmful. The education system and the spillover of that into corporate life and life in general is that you got to do plenty of things very fast.
true.
I think this is a disastrous idea. Yeah, so a mind map is a visual tool. So I did not think that going into the details of a mind map and showing you the visual of a mind map would be appropriate for this platform.
Absolutely.
So for that, people can read my book. It's available for free on Amazon Kindle Unlimited right now.
Perfect.
And I expect it to be available for free for all Amazon Prime members
Fair
from
enough.
1st September.
Okay.
So I can talk about a mind map, but I can't be very precise because this is not the platform for that.
Yeah,
But
that's the whole
it's
idea.
a
Sure.
visual thinking tool which uses pictures, which has an emphasis on using single words rather than full sentences,
Sure.
and which emphasizes writing things down or drawing things. That is, taking things out of your mind and putting it on paper, which has incredible amount of value. Now, if I were to just talk about visual thinking, any amount of increase that you do in your visual thinking to improve your thinking, to improve your life, is too less. I'm going to give you an example here, which will
Sure.
just show you how visual thinking and putting things on paper in a visual format can make life a million times easier. I'm going to give you a puzzle.
Okay.
Imagine you have a rectangular piece of wood.
Okay. Just before we get there, my listeners,
Yeah.
if let's do this together.
Yeah.
Sure.
So after this, I'm going to suggest how they crack it. So I was going to
Ah,
give
okay.
instructions for everybody.
Super. Okay. Sure.
So imagine right now, just hear this out. Do not put anything in writing just
Okay.
now,
Sure.
so that you can see the contrast. Imagine you got a rectangular piece of wood.
Okay.
You cut it into two pieces, where one piece is three times the size of the smaller piece.
Okay.
Focus on the smaller piece, cut it in
Okay.
such a way that the bigger piece is two times the size of the smaller piece. Now, the
Okay.
smallest piece is 8 square inches. So,
Okay.
what's the size of the initial block of wood that we started with? Now,
Okay.
unless
That's
you
the
are
time
finding
we have for
something,
the podcast. Thank you, Dharmendra. You've been. No, I didn't know that. I wasn't prepared for a maths. Dharmendra, don't do that to me.
okay, so for people who are listening, if they think they're so smart, they can actually solve this in their head, please pause and come back. I'm going to now suggest you do it visually, and
Okay.
I'm going to repeat the problem. And I'm sure by the time I finish talking about the problem, see, if you're visualizing it, the answer will just pop up from the sheet of paper. That's how
Okay.
powerful visual thinking is. So I'm not going to give you the answer. You'll get the answer yourself, and later on you can bounce the answer off me offline, and I'll tell you whether that's the right answer. But it's obvious.
Okay.
So I'm going to repeat the problem,
Sure.
and this time please make a vision.
Okay. So that means I'll use a pen and paper.
Yeah, but don't tell me the answer right now because this is it's much better this way. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this, and you can now start making a visual as soon as I speak.
Perfect.
You got a rectangular block of wood.
Right.
You cut it in such a way that one piece is three times the size of the smaller piece.
Right.
Focus on the smaller piece now. You cut it in such a way that one piece is twice the size of the smaller piece.
Okay.
Now focus on the smallest piece that you got.
Right.
That is 8 inches square. So the question is, what was the size of the rectangular wooden stick or board to begin with.
Like you
I'm
said,
sure most people, 99% of them, would have cracked it. But anyway, what is your experience without giving away the answer?
oh, I'll see. I'm very good at sounding smart. Oh, I got it. So, but I cannot reveal it because it's a podcast, right? So let people get to the end, and then probably we can have the big reveal. But thanks. This is going to be very interesting, and I think this is the first time I'm doing an activity on a podcast. People are going to go nuts with this.
The focus is not so much on being right as using this, because when you use this, you realize how important it is, and then you use it
Yeah,
again and again, and then you get better and better, and then you tend to be right.
yeah.
So I want your inputs as to what is the difference. The first time you heard this, you were not using visual tool,
Oh, yeah.
and the second time you were visualizing it on paper. So what do you think was the difference in the processes that went on in your mind?
So first things first, right? I had a history of what I just did because first time without the book or any pen and paper, I was just doing mental notes. So obvious that I was forgetting the previous or the old ones. Like you said, you should read the recent book. This exactly is the analogy from there. So I could recall the first smaller portion. After that, the rest was forgotten. That there's a two-third there, and then every new instruction let me forget the previous instruction and history. And I think that created a chaos because at the end you gave measurements in literal inches or 8 yeah, so that was the challenge, at least for me.
Yeah. So if I were to explain that in scientific terms, what is going on is that there was a tremendous load on your working memory.
Okay.
Your working memory is the memory or the information that's being used at a particular time. So you needed to use lots of pieces of information at one time. And that's very difficult for the human brain to do. There's a scientist called George Miller in 1956 who invented the rule of 7, plus or
Okay.
minus 2. He said the human brain can keep 7 bits of information in the mind. Some can keep 5, some can keep 9. But beyond that, they just lose it all. It becomes extremely, extremely complicated.
But the rule of 7 is very
I
interesting.
think George Miller was wrong. I think the new rule today in a distracted age is 1. It's not 7.
And again, there could be one problem that my brain and me is just lazy. That is another given, so I'll give you that exception as well, Dharmendra.
That's not unique to you. Everybody's brain is different. To use the brain consumes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So
Superb. And I think that was a perfect demo in terms of how do you educate your brain. And this is your long answer for brain literacy. Is that right?
this is one of the ways I've demonstrated about how you should not feel embarrassed or ashamed when you're seeking mental health. We have a problem in our culture.
Yeah.
If there is some physical work to be done, we have no problem using tools.
Yeah.
If you got to climb up to the 10th floor of a building, it's a no-brainer that if an elevator is available, you're going to use that elevator.
I
If
like
you
that.
see somebody not using that elevator, you'll say, oh, this guy's an idiot or he's just showing off.
Showing off. Yeah. Yeah. True.
But if people come to a meeting,
Yeah.
or let me put this in a question answer format, which
Sure.
is, it's a very easy question for you to answer. Just think of all the meetings that you've attended in your life.
Sure.
And for the sake of simplicity, let's keep it business meetings.
Sure.
Okay, and just give me an intuitive answer. You don't really have to think too much.
Sure.
In what percentage of those meetings was everybody in that meeting jotting notes down? Okay, so I'm going to repeat my question.
Sure.
Out of all the business meetings you've attended in your life, thousands,
Right.
in what percentage of the meetings was everybody who was present in the meeting jotting things down?
There'll
Just
be
shoot off a
zero. There'll be
zero.
zero meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, but you're right. Not possible. Not done by everyone in the meeting for sure.
Generally, say you have 10 people in a room and only one guy is taking down notes. The nine people have come without a pen and paper.
Oh, he will be assumed to send the MOMs. For that's for sure, and he'll be expected to remember everything. That's for sure.
Okay, but will they respect him or will they make fun of him?
Oh, obviously he'll be the bullied guy, right? because
Yeah,
he's the odd
exactly.
man out. Yeah, exactly. He'll be the guy who will
They
be
make fun
bullied.
of him.
Yeah, yeah, all the
They'll
time.
say, "Are you so stupid? You can't even remember a few facts and figures."
इतना याद नहीं रहता है. ये 10 मिनट
Yeah,
का तो मीटिंग है.
that's stupid, right? Because
Yeah.
the remaining nine people think they're so smart, they can not only understand what's going on, they can also memorize what's going on. It is a deep mental task. If you want to not waste time in your business life, in your life in general, then you
Yeah.
take these things seriously.
Very interesting. And again, I think this is relearning pen and paper. And my go-to quote for this is don't depend on your memory. A pen and paper can go much longer than, and don't trust your memory for all times, right? In
Yeah,
fact,
there's a
you
Chinese saying, the palest ink is better than the strongest memory.
strongest memory. Perfect.
Yeah, so first of all, it just shows that there's a huge amount of brain illiteracy.
Yeah.
This guy should be making fun of the remaining nine,
Yeah.
saying that you earn a salary and you're so stupid. I'm surprised you're even earning a salary. You don't deserve to get a salary. That's the way it should be. And unstupid yourself is only up to an extent. Ultimately, you cannot unstupid yourself because we just don't have the brains to not be stupid. You can just slightly reduce your stupidity.
I like
So,
what
so
you
that's
did
why.
there. I liked what you did there with we don't have the brains to unstupid yourself. Okay, superb.
Yeah, because there are too many facts and figures. Our
Yeah.
brain is hit with so much data that most of the data is just processed by our unconscious brain. What percentage of your brain do you think you use consciously?
Is there a personal answer that I can give, or I should check with my wife?
No, just just give me an intuitive answer.
3%.
3%. Okay. Now just think of an exponentially lower number.
Exponentially lower number. Let's go with
It's not personal.
no. See,
I'm talking about universal figures.
so you're saying averages, right? So I don't know what is less than three, right? One or minus, I don't know.
Exponentially lower.
Uh, point 0.0000. I'm just checking your reactions on the zeros that I'm adding. Zero,
No,
no? Okay.
you're very close. You're very close.
Really?
It's 0.00004.
Zero, zero. God help us. So point के बाद तीन zeros and four.
Ah,
Now I know
so it's
why I'm
very
doing
easy
this
to remember.
podcast. Okay. So what you're saying is 0.0004% times is how our brain is used.
Percent,
Percent.
0.0004% of our brain is being used consciously because there is so much data around us
Right.
that if we were to try to understand it and analyze it consciously, we would just die because it would require too much energy from our bodies. The brain is just about 2% of the body's weight, but it uses about 25% of the body's energy.
Yeah.
25% by using only 0.0004. So just imagine you use it slightly more, and suddenly the rest of your organs will be deprived of energy, and you're dead.
Good Lord. And like I said, God help us. You mentioned pretty interesting words in terms of, you know, the amount of percentage your brain is used. So that is very well connected to thinking. So
Yes,
how does one relearn this? How does one relearn thinking?
using words like relearn and unlearn is very nice because it's catchy, but
Yeah.
scientifically, you shouldn't be focusing on that. As long as you're learning something new, which is better compared to what you have in your memory, which is worse, then the bad things that you've learned in the past will automatically be unlearned because you need to do a lot of repetition to move something into long-term memory. And if you stop doing repetition, then slowly it fades from your long-term memory. So it's
Interesting.
not an active process. It is better that you just ignore the wrong concepts that you've learned in the past rather than give a command to your brain that I have to unlearn this. just focus on new things that you got to learn, and automatically unlearning will happen. The hippocampus when
Yeah.
you are in deep sleep every day keeps on cleaning the brain. So you can't do that deliberately.
So, like a good host, I've just said yeah to the hippocampus. So, like I'm showing off that I know about it. But that's cool. So go ahead and search hippocampus on Google search, guys.
Yeah, it's just part of the brain that stores long-term memories.
Besides the visual tools, I also read that there are some tools online as well, which a lot of corporates used, a lot of individuals use to simplify this entire process. I have personally used some of these tools in brainstorming sessions as well when we were dabbling on some ideas. So any recommended or go-to tools? And this clearly shows I haven't read your book.
Mind maps is one of the best tools for brainstorming. In
Yeah.
fact, a chief executive of one of the biggest cosmetics companies in the world had attended a session of mine.
Uh-huh.
He's not permitted me to use his name because the income tax department may stop going after Riya Chakravarti and start going after him.
Okay.
So he used the brainstorming that I taught him
Uh-huh.
in a business meeting with his sales team.
Uh-huh.
And he's given me a written testimonial that in one meeting, just one meeting, he was able to add more than 20 crores as a very specific statement to the bottom line.
Wow. There are some questions that we have which are beyond brain literacy and mind mapping, and these are
So,
more about you personal. So I hope that's okay, and we can take some time on these as well.
yeah, absolutely. This is like Karan Johar's rapid fire.
I didn't want to go by that, but sure, let's call it that. So you don't have any time to think, okay? So what is the strangest or the weirdest thing you did while attending a meeting or a webinar? And in your case, probably hosting a seminar.
There was a multinational company.
Uh-huh.
So this was not done during the session, but it's related to something that happened during the session.
Okay.
I did a session for a multinational company in Bangalore.
Uh-huh.
It was organized by a partner, and they have a weird system where participants send you feedback.
Okay.
The participants send the feedback to the trainer, and the trainer is supposed to respond to that feedback
For every feedback.
as much as possible.
Okay. Interesting.
So my partner said, "This is the feedback from them. So can you give your comments in writing? So feedback on the feedback."
Okay.
So there was some really funny feedback. One feedback was the training should have happened in a better venue.
Oh, sure.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't decide the venue. The training happened in the head office of that company, and I have no say as a trainer. I don't decide the venue. So what's the point of giving me that feedback? So I wrote back. I said, this is, I'm going to cut this guy to pieces.
Also, so
I
you're
wrote
expected
back
to reply to this feedback as a feedback. Very interesting.
in writing.
Okay.
In writing. So I responded, good feedback. Next time we'll do it in Taj.
If so, Dharmendra, if you had one superpower, what would that be and why? Tick tick
I
one.
would
Okay, there you go.
I would have loved the entire world to be like one country. And then I would have loved to be the chief executive or the president of that country.
Okay, superb. And why?
Then the first thing I would implement is universal basic income for
Universal
the
basic
income.
income. Interesting.
Yeah. So this is a concept where the people who are genuinely poor are given a certain monthly payment.
Right.
That's it. They don't have to work for that.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
they get it because they're poor. So this has been started by some future-looking governments, and
Yes.
it's been there in various forms. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
US has unemployment benefits, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the UK has NHS.
If you had an access to time machine, where would you go and why?
I would go to the time when the first school was established.
Okay.
Because the education system in all the countries, not just India, is so
Yeah.
crappy, it's so pathetic. and plenty of people, they don't use their brains. It's just copying what's been done in the past.
Yeah.
So go to the first school, uh, let them train on less number of subjects, but in greater depth, and a lot of emphasis on brain literacy and a lot of emphasis on physical training, because ultimately that boosts brain literacy as well. That boosts your
Sure.
brain power.
Interesting.
So this revamping, for the reasons best known to others, it just doesn't seem to be happening. Everybody is just stuck. The reforms just don't seem to be happening. So if I could fix it at the origin,
Right at the beginning.
yeah, it
Fantastic.
just
That's
doesn't make
that's
any
a good
sense.
answer. And the last one, Dharmendra, is that what is your recommendation for a podcast, book, or a TV series that you're watching or reading or listening?
After suggesting my own,
Oh,
go to my
I
YouTube
forgot
channel.
I forgot to put the disclaimer besides your own because you have all three, right? I'm not sure about the series though, but yeah, I'm sure that's also a work in progress.
From the viewpoint of brain literacy, I think one of the best books is, it's not by me, it's the Mind Map book by Tony Buzan, who's the inventor of mind maps, and
Of course.
he spoke about them at the beginning. And from the viewpoint of the science of influence or invisible selling or behavioral economics, I think the best book is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman.
Thinking fast and slow. Okay.
Yeah. So I must just warn the audience that Thinking Fast and Slow is a very big book. So again, we need to revisit what we spoke about in the beginning. You don't need to consume it in a day. You can read one chapter in a month, but read that chapter inside out.
कोई competition नहीं है, कोई race नहीं है.
Huh?
Take it easy. Let it live that chapter and then move.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
these are good recommendations. Uh, Thank you so much for doing this, Dharmendra. I look forward to many conversations.
Great. Thanks a lot. I'm sure you're going to have tons of visitors, tons of viewers from various parts of the world, because this is an absolute need of the hour. You
Sure.
can listen to any major thought leader anywhere in the world. Yuval Harari is from the academic side.
Yeah,
You can listen to Jeff Bezos. You can listen to Elon Musk. You can listen to the late Steve Jobs. Creativity is one of the most critical things, and ultimately, all these guys are where they are because they've
yeah,
understood the power of thinking differently and thinking better.
sure. Superb. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best for anything and everything that you do. And you do so much. Just follow Dharmendra on LinkedIn, guys. I'll leave his contact details in the description. Cheers. That was a fun conversation, don't you think? Rather, please tell me what you think. Do share your relearning stories, your take on the episode and the podcast. I'm more than happy to hear from you on the relearning podcast at gmail.com, and you can also reach us on the Relearning Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. We are Relearn Podcast on Twitter. You can reach Dharmendra by simply googling his name, Dharmendra Rai, and drop him a message via his website. This is Prashant Tekar. Until next time, keep relearning, rest that brain.